All right. Let's move on to today's game. So yesterday's games have been played. Like John Bafo said, people are running on 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep in Côte d'Ivoire. I don't think anybody will do anything productive today in Côte d'Ivoire. But yeah, there you have it. These 2 games, 5 p.m. Mali, Burkina Faso, 8 p.m. is Morocco, South Africa. The 5 p.m. game is happening at Korogo, at Amadou Koulibaly Stadium, and then San Pedro. That's where the next game, the 8 p.m. game, will take place. Morocco versus South Africa at the Laurent Pokou Stadium.
Tasty games. I mean, today's games are really tasty.
Really tasty.
Can't wait. I can't wait for 5
All
p.m.
right, let's. The 5 p.m. game is Burkina Faso, Mali.
This excitement over knockout games is something we've not had in Ghana for a very long time, right? not since 2019, was it?
Yeah.
Against Tunisia.
I think I'm enjoying myself in this AFCON. I don't think I'm dependent on the Black Stars to give me joy anymore. I said that after the game. Like, I don't depend on them. If you enjoy football, you enjoy them.
This has been a good
it's been a good tournament. I look at, especially the 8 p.m. for people like me who like to watch the pre-game analysis on Super Sports. They don't hide their bias. They are a South African group of people.
Yes.
I would want to hear what they have to say. So by 7 you are by the TV.
Let's pick the 2 games one after. Let's start off with that first one. Mali and Burkina Faso. We saw. I don't know. A lot of people think about Mali, rightly so, as a team that's on the up. On the continent. Now their squad looks more exquisite, it looks more recognizable, it has a good international feel about it. And then they are the Burkinabés themselves, who also have their own little success story. I saw them, was it 2 years ago, involved in this crazy penalty shootout. That had their goalkeeper doing the somersaults afterwards. But anyway, let me start off with you. Mali, just looking at how far they've come as a team, a lot of people think that this is a competition where they need to show out or show off, if you like do well. But they've got to take on Burkina Faso, who are very stubborn.
They are very stubborn, 2 very physical teams. And for Mali, there's a lot of pressure on them, even more pressure than there is on Burkina Faso. You consider Mali more of always the bridegrooms and never the bride. That's the story that's followed Mali at these international tournaments. They consistently finish as the 3rd place, 4th place, very far into the competition without actually winning it. And you always look at their squad and think this is a squad that should be getting somewhere good. They always play very, very good football and are always considered one of the dark horses, but they finished 2nd only once at the AFCON, finished 3rd 4 times, finished 4th 5 times. So there's this narrative that Mali isn't a team that can get to the ultimate goal, and this might be their best opportunity. Senegal out, the big guns aren't playing very good football. They seem to have a decent path ahead of them. Even if they win this one, they are facing the Ivory Coast, who are not in the best of form. They might have home advantage, but who knows? They will look at this bracket and think, this might be our time, finally be our time. But as you said, they have to get past a very stubborn Burkina Faso team. And I think Mali have played some really good football so far at the tournament. The win over South Africa was very impressive, especially the second half. I like the way they defended very well in the first half. I think they were a little more porous than they would like to have been in that first half. But they held on, and then they took over in the second half and won pretty easily. In the subsequent games against Namibia and against Tunisia, I thought they were equally as good. Yeah.
I think they drew goalless with Namibia.
But in terms of play, they were really good. Okay. They may not have scored the goals that you are expected to score as Mali or with the chances they got in that game against Namibia. But in terms of actual football, in terms of passing play, in terms of ball progression, I thought they were very fantastic in the group stages. Will they be able to carry that along into the round of 16? I've seen, especially from yesterday's game, that success in the group stages does not equal success in the round of 16. This is where teams step up in the tournament, when even though they've not had a good group stages. And Burkina Faso, they've been quite shaky. They were quite shaky in the group stages. The win over Mauritania was decent, but I thought Mauritania gave them more of a game than they would have wanted. They scraped through that. In the subsequent games, they weren't as impressive. They enjoyed a good game against Algeria, but Algeria themselves were not at their best. Them not getting 3 points was very surprising in that instance. So you are looking at two teams who have had decent amounts of success already in the tournament, but see themselves as teams that can go extra levels, that can give something extra in the tournament. And if you look at them player for player, Mali stand as favourites in this game. You wouldn't count against them, given the football I've seen them play, but they shouldn't go into this game trying to underestimate Burkina Faso. Otherwise, just like Senegal, they might be beating.
Kwame.
I mean, I disagree, because I think both Mali and Burkina Faso have been underwhelming at this tournament. Very underwhelming. I mean, Mali showed up in the South African game, showed up in the first half against Tunisia and disappeared. I think for the quality they possess, they should be the ones with these untouchable 9-pointers in the group stage. As to how they drew against Namibia, still is a mystery to me, because Namibia is porous, is very bad defensively, and they were exposed by Angola, a team that beat Burkina Faso 2-0. And the same with Burkina Faso. When you look at Burkina Faso's group, before this tournament started, your favorites would have been Algeria, Burkina Faso, to be the first and second in this group, but both teams were underwhelming. I mean, Burkina Faso needed this miraculous penalty to beat Mauritania. Then they drew against Algeria and lost 2-0 to Angola. So Burkina Faso, for the players they possess, Tapsoba, Issa Kabori, Bertrand Traore, for the players they possess, they are not hitting their peak. But like we see, the group stages are very different from the from the knockout phases. So, and they are very similar teams in physicality. Very physical team. But I think
it concerns me that
we might not have an enjoy. But I think the Malians are technically more superior and technically better than the Burkina Faso team. And I think for the investment Mali have put into their football, the amount of time they've come close, even the years in which they hosted in, I think, was it 2002? Yeah. This is the time where they should take the bull by the horn, because yet again, Cote d'Ivoire have done everybody in that slot a favor by taking out Senegal. Because had Senegal gone through, I'm sure they were going all the way to the final, because now in that bracket you have Congo, you have Equatorial Guinea. I think Guinea beat Equatorial. So you have Congo, you have Guinea, then you have Cote d'Ivoire now. Yeah. So that bracket is very easy if you do apply yourself. I expect them to beat Burkina Faso, because Burkina Faso are not showing up. But then that's the thing again about Burkina Faso. They don't need to show up for you in the group stage. They just need to come and, we are the underdogs, and thrive under that spell of underdogs to do well. But at the end of the day, the kind of football, there's so much potential in the Malian team, and I think they are going to do well. They are the big dogs in this game, and I expect them to win that game.
Guys, you've highlighted that second half. The Malians played against South Africa, where they were very classy, picked the South Africans off, and all of that. What would it take for that kind of performance to be played across two halves and possibly an extra time to get rid of the Burkinabes?
What would it take? They need to understand the power of their physicality. I know, you need to understand how important it is to impose yourself right from the start. I felt that they gave the South Africans a lot of space, a lot of leeway in that first half, allowed them to play their game without giving them going into those 50-50 challenges, without putting players on players, man on man. They decided to give them a back off, allow them space to operate in. And South Africa almost took their chances. The penalty miss was one of them, obviously. But also, there were a couple of chances where they walked almost right through that Malian midfield without any challenges, and then got a few chances to score. They didn't take them, and they paid for it in the second half. In the second half, I thought that Mali did a good job of putting their players on the South Africans, making sure they didn't get any space to in the midfield to turn around and find a pass. Players who were very influential in that first half for South Africa were finding it difficult to get space to make those passes as they were in the first half. They also took advantage of their set-piece opportunities, which is very important, by the way. The second goal was from a free kick that hit the bar, but you found out that their players were switched on even after the free kick had been taken.
Okay.
And that's another thing, concentration in certain moments. The first goal, standard first goal. Second goal, concentration from the player who held his run, and then tapped the ball into the back of the net. The third one as well, from I think Sinayoko, who scored the third goal for Mali. He realized that in terms of physique, in terms of physicality, he could challenge or match up to the South African defender, and he went in for the tackle. Some others might just sit back and allow the South African defender to pass back to the goalkeeper or clear it. But he decided to challenge for the ball, and he got it. You need to have your players switched on for a significant amount of time, even in those key moments. Okay. They may not have to run around for 90 minutes, but you, as a player or a striker or a midfielder, you identify the key players. You should be intelligent enough to identify key moments in which you exert yourself. And I'd like to point out one player, Victor Osimhen. I think he's a clear example of that. He identified points in the game where he has to sprint, give 100%, but there are points in the game where you find him relaxing quite a bit, maybe strolling back from the front of the pitch to midfield just to join in the play. But there are moments where he gives 100%. He's sprinting after defenders, sprinting after balls, just going, challenging defenders full force. And you find that he is almost never exhausted after 90 minutes. He can still give you quite a bit. And that is the approach basically Mali and also Burkina Faso, if they are to keep up with Mali, need to approach this game with.
All right, we'll see. Mali versus Burkina Faso. Very, very interesting game there. The locals will have a bit of a stake in this because the Ivorians will have a very interesting relationship with the Burkinabés and the Malians. So we'll see how it will play out in that game.